Feeling real good today.
Aren't you now?
Yeah,
I'm glad
I had a
one-
good. I had a good
glad one
football
of us
day.
is.
I had a good
Yes.
football day yesterday.
Did you make money? Did you gamble? And you won all your bets?
4-0.
You beat all the fantasy people.
So if you go
did
if
all-
you went 4-0, but the Packers lost, would you be happy?
No, I would be just. I would like the betting is whatever. The Packers affect me the most, but
Right.
I'm not betting enough money as to where it's gonna make or break me one way or the other. And I bet on the Packers, so that went hand in hand. And really,
It's always a dangerous thing to bet on the team.
I would never bet on
Yeah.
my team. Can't do it. Stress enough. Like,
well,
just
the
don't.
Packers are 10-2 against the spread or 9-2 against the spread. So
All right,
ride that.
It's a good year.
you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yes, I is.
Great. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Chop Sports Daily, coming to you live from the Flipping Made Easy studio right here in Matawan, New Jersey. Your hosts, of course, Sturch and Gooch, and of course, it is Jimmy Palumbo Mondays. So Jimmy is joining us fresh off his sold-out crowd on Saturday night. Jimmy, how'd it go, bro? How'd it go?
You know what? The show went well. It was a good crowd. It was good to see your parents there. They said hello to me. You know what? It was a good show for everybody. I had a good set. You know what it's like? It's like I'll give you a football analogy. Like, I did well. We won the game. I wanted to throw for 4 touchdown passes, 300.
So you were a game manager. Like, you got through it. You got the
I
dub.
said to my buddy, I was like, I wanted to be Aaron Rodgers.
But you were Troy Aikman.
No, I was like a guy like, I was like 11 for
How did
19. I guess the Troy Aikman is.
how did Mike do?
Mike Marino kicked ass. The kid Jack
Jack?
Jr. did really well. I was talking with him a lot backstage. I made a nice connection here. When I go to LA, I'll be able to perform at various places he's involved with. The crowd seemed to love it. The place is just gorgeous. Carteret play. They even gonna do wrestling there. I don't know if I told you that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, MMA. Sorry. Not
Oh, all
wrestling.
right. Cool.
The place is great, but it's brand new. It didn't open yet. It opens this Saturday night, really, for the Smithereens. So they have some staffing issues, how to get in and out. where to
Right.
park. But you know what's funny? When it comes to my comedy, I can't judge it. Like Chris called me up and said, your parents had a good time.
Yeah,
and
they
liked
did.
it.
And
And
my
I
buddy
say-
Joe also had a good time. So
Yeah, I can't judge my own comedy anymore. Like, I know personally, but it's like, you can give up 2 runs in a game and be pissed off at the home run you gave up. That kind
Yeah,
of
of course.
But
Well,
it was,
listen, that just shows you give a shit. That's
There you
all.
go.
I mean, that just shows you care about your craft. But you did step into my world for a half a second. You see all those rabid fans calling for me in the hallway?
First of all, that was. I show up.
was
I
it
go.
creepy?
Very.
I
It
walk
I
in.
get the creepy vibe from
well,
that.
I pulled up right in front because I figured go right in. And I wasn't sure. Like, what is he doing at wrestling? I didn't really. I was like in my own world. I walk up and there's these people in the lobby, and I was like, they couldn't get in.
If you want to call them people, that's very generous
Okay.
of you.
it,
I was like going to say careful.
I was like, so I
People.
walk in and I'm like, and I just went, I just opened up the door. And when I opened the door, the people were looking at me like, he walked right in. And I'm like, well, I'm not here to see the show. I didn't even know really. I was like,
It was obviously the doors weren't open yet.
right.
Like,
So,
for
yeah,
the
so they were
audience.
waiting. So I walk in and the jerk off at the front row, I was very calm. I said, hey, I'm here to Dave Sturt show. I understand he's doing part of the announcement. I was very, very calm. The guy's like, what? Who? Like, who?
Who do I
Where?
gotta-
Like,
who do
who
I
are
gotta-
you? Like, totally being a jerk. I said,
Really?
then I said to myself,
He's fired.
there's a guy named Dave Sturchill. I know he's here. And then in the background, I see them working on moves, the wrestlers. And I'm like, I said, he's probably right. Can I just go in? If you let me go into the arena, and I almost said, I'm Jimmy Palumbo, but I didn't. And I walked in,
bro.
Then the guy looks at the other guy.
Yeah, I
goes,
don't care.
The guy goes, go get Dave. So he knew who you were.
Right.
And I'm like,
Oh,
why?
that was
I
such
guess
an ignorant
he
move.
probably thought I was a fan or something. So he goes back and then you came out and I left.
And then when we went in the corridor, everyone, Dave. And I was like, welcome to my world.
And one guy said, you're doing the show. Oh, that's really cool. Better than, and they rattled off another guy. And I'm like, this is so great.
Oh, man.
I heard
Good
I
times.
heard that show went well.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so my weekend, guys. I
Don't
did
worry about it.
nothing.
We'll
Yeah.
get to your
We'll
schmooze
get to
weekend
your-
where everything went well for you. We'll get to all that shit. But we did, WrestlePro kicked ass. I'm glad the Carteret show was good. And that's great. So the weekend went off without a hitch. Now, of course, before we get into Chris, actually, you know what? Yeah, Chris, go ahead.
No,
well,
no,
how
no.
was
How was
your
your
weekend?
I don't even care.
Because there's
I have-
you do
breaking
care.
news right
I
now.
didn't do anything this weekend
Yeah, the
except
Packers
win money
won.
and win football games. So we don't have to talk. I know you guys are kind of somber. Jimmy, I don't know. He's Monday mornings.
Somber.
He's always disappointed
Somber.
in something.
Dude.
Dave's upset about the Cowboys situation with McCarthy,
But
but
now all of a
he
sudden
doesn't
we
realize
log
that's a-
on.
that's
we
a
lo-
blessing in disguise.
I mean, we'll see about that. But now they're saying that there's 7 other guys other than Mike McCarthy who've tested positive for COVID. Now, look, I am not one to have this conversation with anybody as far as like, you should get vaccinated, you shouldn't, blah, 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 blah. But now this is like the Cowboys apparently were 90-something% vaccinated. So a lot of these guys can normally on a normal week could produce, the coach is. The coach is vaccinated, right? He said it. So, based off the rules that if this game were to be played on Sunday, he can coach. But now because the game's on Thursday, he's been ruled out already. So I don't know who's going to be taking over responsibilities. As of right now, I'm thinking Dan Quinn. He's got the head coaching experience. They also have John Fossil. What?
Can the coach still work via Zoom?
No,
from his
they don't allow it. They don't allow it. So which is garbage. With all the technology, the coach is out. He's gone.
No, but so he can't call up the offense coordinator and say,
Nope.
listen,
Nothing.
I mean,
that can't
what are
be.
they? Could you
that's the
imagine?
rule,
Could you
yeah.
imagine Bill Belichick catching COVID and them telling him that he can't talk to his offensive coordinator
Well,
via Zoom?
why can't you
That's-
at least
that's
from
absurd.
home talk to them?
No shit.
And-
Why can't you also coach from the booth by yourself?
No,
Just
no, I get it.
seclude yourself.
And then
They're
you have
not
to
gonna
show
let
up
you
at the
bring it-
stadium.
Go up to the facility.
But
and
why
things like
can't you
that.
be like in touch? Okay, we're gonna run the ball more. We're gonna whatever coach talk.
He could probably
who was
virtually
the guy,
game
Who
plan.
was the guy
He
that?
can virtually game plan. He
That's
just
do they
can't
really?
be there.
Do they
Thursday.
really
I'm talking
even
about-
need
I'm talking about
McCarthy?
game
though?
planning. That's what I
Oh,
meant.
game planning. He's definitely zooming in
Okay,
and doing all the
My
meetings.
real question is, do they really need Mike McCarthy?
You're about to find out.
I guess
About
we're
to
gonna find out.
Because the Cowboys are playing the Saints on Thursday, and the Saints are really, and the Cowboys, well, we all saw
who
what
made the
happened on
joke?
Thanksgiving.
Who made the joke that Jason Garrett's available in a pinch?
Bobby Belt.
If anybody
Bobby
needs him?
Belt,
That's great.
he's a friend of mine on Twitter. He's also a Cowboys writer, NFL producer. He's the one who said, call up Garrett. He'll get it done.
All right.
By
I
the
want
way,
to talk
there's-
about one more thing before we move on. Like, we're on football, but I know we have other big things to cover with college football and then the Mets, unfortunately. But did you guys see Kareem Hunt's dad going in on Baker during the game yesterday?
Oh, yeah. I
Bro.
also, yes.
Did you
So,
read the?
I
did you
didn't read
the
it.
Exchange.
Are you going to actually read the whole
I
thing?
am. I'm
Okay.
gonna. It's gonna be quick.
Okay, good.
All right. So now I'm getting people on my Facebook saying I'm being OBJ daddy and I'm not stating facts on football. I can't really read what he's saying because it's gonna make me sound like a complete idiot.
Is in
But
code
basically, what he's saying is
That's
he's
not
calling
hard
out.
to do, though.
He's calling out Baker Mayfield. Oh, really? That's interesting.
Monday.
He's calling out Baker Mayfield mid-game, talking like this guy's scared. They need a new quarterback. Look, Kareem Hunt, you were out of football like a year ago because you were hammered and you were drunk driving and you like beat up a girl. Right?
I was just going to say,
There
wait a
was
minute.
two
Time
things.
out, Mr. Hunt. And I'll call him Mr. Hunt because it's not Kareem. Mr. Hunt, dear Mr. Hunt, your son punted a woman 2 years ago. Shut up. Like, shut your mouth.
Now, I don't think he's wrong about anything he said.
Fine. But
Baker is a pussy. He was limping around. He was playing afraid. I know that he's banged up, but I feel like he's the guy where if you're banged up, you see Matthew Stafford's banged up. There was like a leaked report that Matthew Stafford's hurt, right? Baker Mayfield will let you know, like, hey guys, I'm
Baker
really,
Mayfield's
I'm really
wearing that
banged up.
massive shoulder
Yeah,
brace
he's
on
just-
his left.
He's
shoulder,
all for
yeah.
show. He's the, dare I say, the white version of Cam Newton to me. Just all about himself. Wants to, if Baker gets hit on the sideline, he runs out into to an open
Right.
area where he could celebrate. It's like, dude, come on. We don't actually give a shit. And he is afraid. He looked afraid to me last night.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But there are things to cover outside of the realm of the NFL slate, which we will get to, obviously, with everything that went on.
By the way, I just saw someone posted. It's always great on Monday morning to have a little Nick post on Facebook.
Oh, we'll get into the Knicks a little bit because there definitely was a good win. But breaking overnight and into the night, and I know Mets fans are monitoring Twitter and refreshing Heyman and Passan and all these writers. The New York Mets are on the brink of possibly having Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer on the same rotation. To me, that's winning baseball. That is the formula. You need pitching. They also add Marte over the weekend. The Mets are having themselves a decent offseason while the Yankees are laying dormant. Like, unless they're going to make this big splash where all of a sudden Seager comes in and he's
I
the
think
guy.
they're going to
Like,
give
what's
Trevor
gonna
Story
happen?
a boatload of money, and that's going to be about it.
Well, I
I
think
mean,
the Yankees are waiting on Clint Frazier to get his eyes fixed.
well, Frazier's been released.
I know, but
I think
they're waiting
Gardner's
for
still
him to get
available.
better.
Garner's still available technically, but like I just, it boggles my mind. Remember, for a long time, there was other fans out there that weren't Yankee fans that would always say, "Hey, you're buying championships. You're buying championships, right?" Well, guess what? The Mets now have the most aggressive owner in sports, and he's doing everything in his power to bring a winner to New York. And right now, truth be told, it's better to be a Mets fan right now in this day on November. What are we? 29th.
Oh,
It
it's-
is better
listen,
to be a Mets fan right now than
Yeah,
a
and
Yankees
I'm
fan.
It's
honestly-
always
no,
better to
that's-
be. It's
What?
What? What?
It's better to be a Mets fan than a Yankees
No,
fan
Right now.
based
No.
on a fucking
Listen.
signing that might not even pan out.
It's
It's-
going to pan out.
It's always better to be a Mets fan right up until, would you say, July 1st,
Not even,
June
though. It's like,
15th,
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden, it's
I've
like,
seen the Mets win ton of off seasons. Right?
Yeah, and that is the MO.
And
A
I
lot of
haven't seen
people
him
get
win a
on him
ton,
for
period.
winning the offseason, but this is Max Scherzer, and it's not like your normal like
big
this.
pickup.
If it was like
It's a
J.A.
huge
Happ
pickup,
or whatever,
and I agree.
wouldn't give a
I agree
shit.
that the Yankees should have been heavily in the mix on Scherzer.
If
They
Scherzer
should
was
not let
available to
Scherzer
me-
be a Met. Right? You
I
got the
just
money
feel
to
like
do it.
you-
I heard all this talk about the Yankees spending and exceeding the luxury tax finally. Look,
They haven't done
where,
it yet.
where is it?
That's
Where
what
is
I'm
it? You're
saying.
waiting. Are you going
What
to
are you
sign
waiting
11
for?
fucking shortstops? Get the starting pitcher. There. That said, when you're talking about DeGrom and Scherzer, and I don't want to sit here and play doctor, but I'm pretty certain that the DeGrom injury there's a lot more to it. That's just my take on it. They were very
and that's why you go
ho-hum
out and
about
go
the
nuts with,
and that's
with
why
Scherzer.
the Scherzer signing was a big priority for
thing.
them. If in fact Jacob deGrom does come back healthy next year, which I think is a big if you look at the workload and you look at the way the injury went down, I think it's a big if. But if they do, the Mets down the stretch will finally have that 1-2 punch that they haven't had in their maybe since the
hey, listen,
60s.
it's a good move by the Mets. They signed Lindor, who at the time everybody thought was a decent signing. It didn't work out so far, but you got to give him a second year. Now they go after Scherzer. I mean, if you're a Met fan, like this is what you should be
This
doing.
is what you've been wanting.
The Yankees
forever.
are in a different
Yeah.
situation. I mean,
they
got to
signed
remember the Yankees
a
still
couple
have
other
John
nice
Carlos.
players, too.
Escobar.
Starling Marte's good, Kana's good, Escobar's good. They're putting together nice pieces, but until I see it, who's their manager? Do they even have a GM yet? They did. They did.
They hired a
right?
GM. They did not hire a manager.
They didn't-
So there's no manager
I
yet.
also
but
don't like their owner. I've come up with that over the past
Uncle
weekend.
Steve, you don't
Yeah,
like
just-
Mr. Cohn?
He's like trying too hard to be
I don't think he should be as
trendy on
active as he
Twitter.
is on Twitter.
Exactly.
You
Where
know,
he's
like,
talking
that's
shit.
annoying.
again.
He made a comment about Steven Matt's agent being unprofessional. How could he? Bro, is this your first rodeo? Agents
It is his
lie.
first rodeo.
Like literally, agents are gonna lie.
I really want to know what his wife thinks because again, I have to go back to
Steve
that.
Cohen?
Steve Cohen's wife, because I think what happened is he was watching television, and it was a documentary on Scherzer or something like that. And he said, "Honey, can you come in here for a minute?" And she was probably talking about the drapes or doilies or something. And she says, "Oh, and what about that guy Max? He pitches somewhere. He's like really good. Why don't we go get that?"
She saw him with
And
his
he's
shirt
like,
off.
shiny
She
red
saw,
toy.
she saw him with his shirt off celebrating the last 11 postseasons, and he was like, "We should probably get back."
So
there."
he went back to the office and he says,
He
"Hey
knows
guys."
a little something about winning, I think. I don't
I
know.
could just see him. He got back and said, "Can we get anybody from Scherzer's camp on the line?" He's
Yeah,
like, "Yeah, listen,
well-
we're going to give you $1,000 million an hour." to
It
play."
seems to be a thing. Keep refreshing Twitter. Heyman's on it. I know the Till Mets Do Us Part
I hope he gets
correspondents are
elbow
on it.
tightness.
If
right
he's on-
away.
Jesus
I hope
Christ.
Scherzer gets elbow tightness.
Yeah,
in
it'll
the
be
spring.
it'll be out 2 weeks, and 8 years later, he's been retired since the day. He
Right,
left off the mound.
Right.
But good
so,
move for the Mets.
so
for sure.
college football, before we get into the Michigan throttling
They
of
busted
Ohio
them up.
State, Jimmy, I'm sorry that the Rutgers season is over.
Yes, it is
Officially.
it's
as,
okay.
as optimistic as it looked in the beginning, it
ended-
just kind of came crashing down. And
I will tell you, I actually went to the game, and I
you double dipped.
double dipped.
Oh,
I
wow.
was I just had to get out of the house, and
Hear
I told my brother, the minute it gets out of hand, I'm out of here, which I did. I left as soon as the game was over in the third quarter. I sat there and I was like, you know what? We weren't that good the year before. This year we were one game short of making a bowl, so we just missed our goal. The players are not on the field yet. A lot of red shirts didn't play. There are like 5 or 6 players that made some noise, including perhaps this guy Wimsat we don't know about. So I think, Rutgers is going to be very busy in the portal. There's hope still there. There's hope still. But the real hull damage of the weekend is the Rutgers basketball team.
Yeah, according to the
Because
scoop right
I
now, it's
think-
saying it's over already.
Well, I'll tell you right now, they should be 0-6. They barely beat Carteret, Linden, and
They haven't covered yet either.
and they got beat out of buzzer beater against UMass, but they lost to DePaul and Lafayette. They don't have a good win. They have all bad. Their wins are bad. Their losses are equally
So
bad.
it's just not a good. You know what? Though I don't want to damper Rutgers altogether. The
Time
wrestling
out.
team is 8-0.
The wrestling team is 8-0, and
And-
they're ranked in the
and-
top, I think 10. They're
Wait a
11th
minute.
in the country.
But the biggest story of the day for Rutgers, the Scarlet McKnight women are in the Final Four of soccer, and that's hard to do.
That's great. Good for them. I mean,
Exactly.
listen. So not all is lost when
Not
it
all
comes
is
to Rutgers.
lost, no.
But again, their football season is over. But the bowl season has just begun. College football playoffs is about to roll around. A lot of movement over the course of the last couple days, including Michigan just beating the brakes off Ohio State. Michigan now, I mean, obviously nothing's come out yet as far as their new.
No, I think they're third.
What do you think they're third, or
I'm
I don't think
pretty
they
sure-
come
or no,
out
they're
until
second.
Tuesday.
It's First,
I think
second,
it comes out
it's gonna be-
tonight. I think
Yeah,
I'll
it'll
figure
be out
that
tonight. But Michigan's the projections have Michigan at 2.
it'll be a 2. Yeah, it'll
Now
be
you're
Georgia.
thinking, and you're also thinking Alabama's going to be on the outs very
No,
soon.
Well,
yeah.
Alabama right now is 4th, but
they're
here's
gonna lose to
how it's gonna
Georgia.
go down. First, let's talk about this first
Okay.
because then we'll get to the what I think is going to happen in the college football playoff.
Gotcha.
But right now, Michigan throttling Ohio State. There's a lot of beef with the coaches, and I thought it was funny as hell what Jim Harbaugh said. He was like, a lot of times people are born on third base and they thought they hit a triple. Basically saying that Ryan Day inherited this team. He hasn't done a goddamn thing. And they beat up on Michigan last year and talk shit. I don't even know if they beat up on them bad, but I think they did.
Yeah,
But there was a lot of
probably-
beef after the game. And the Ohio State coach said in the offseason they were going to hang 100. They were going to hang 100 on Michigan in Michigan this year. And really all they did was get the shit beat out of them and have 100,000 fans storm the field. I'm not by no means a Michigan fan.
Including one Mike Salerno, host
yeah,
of the
which is
Squeaky
why
Bum
I'm
Time
bringing this
podcast,
up.
which is awesome. He got to get on the field
Listen,
with all his
Michigan was
Michigan
due.
gear.
They lost 15 out of 16 games, whatever the hell it is. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And Harbaugh is one of those guys. If you look at the recruiting, every recruit's a 5-star, so you can't mock him out for recruiting. They just somehow
He's a
got.
dick.
He's a jerk off.
Wait, Harbaugh?
Yeah.
That's what you got to be, bro.
Right, I love
you
it.
got it. Do you remember that one game?
Jim Schwartz.
Yep. Where they like shook hands at midfield, and I was like, I thought they were going to throw down. I was like, this is great.
I'll make a prediction. I'll make a prediction right now.
Jimmy Palumbo
Uh-oh.
predictions on
Here we
Mondays.
go.
Go ahead.
While Harbaugh is still the coach of Michigan, the Scarlet McKnights, my lowly McKnights,
We'll beat them a game.
we're going to beat them, and we're going to beat them and smoke them.
Oh,
Oh,
That's my
Christ.
prediction.
We
All
might
right.
have
Well,
to wait a really
now,
long
what I
time.
mean by
for this.
smoke
what was in
is-
the water in Carteret
Right.
over the weekend, but
what I mean by smoke them is, Michigan 8-0, playing the lowly Scarlet Knights, and all of a sudden, boom, they're going to get dropped. Only because,
you think Shiano plays Harbaugh well?
well, he pissed on Rutgers so many times. He was running up the score, passing with 3 minutes to
They
go.
played him
up
well
by
this year.
60.
Rutgers
they did
played
play him well
Michigan
this year.
decent this year.
It's going to
But
happen.
I think they were I was in Dallas for that.
Rutgers.
game. Yeah, I
We
was
can put
watching
the
that one.
Rutgers football talk away for a
It's
little
gone.
bit.
We're
Yeah,
done with
done
Rutgers football.
All right. Well,
But
it's been fun,
The
but Rutgers
top
is
four-
out. So now I am curious to know Notre Dame. Where are we
I
at
think that
there?
we're going to
Like,
finally see Notre Dame getting ousted. Not because they don't deserve it, but because they don't play in a conference. I don't see how you could
why
not.
why not link up with a conference at this point?
What
It's detrimental to your program. No,
You guys don't understand. Notre
No,
Dame
I
is
understand.
Notre Dame is a television show.
Yeah.
It's on
It's
every
ABC,
Saturday.
right.
No, it's NBC.
Whatever.
So their 8 home games are television shows.
Yeah,
So they make like twice as much as all
but
the
they're
schools.
but I do understand that, and
Yeah.
I'm telling you that they're not going to make the college football playoff this year because they don't have a conference.
That's a
they
shame.
don't have
So
a
they're going to
conference.
take their money and run.
Of course,
So
I'm just saying,
but if you're Notre Dame,
as a fan,
you would,
you're
it's-
upset.
You're like, I'm mad that they don't play.
Aren't they
should
in the
be-
division in basketball?
They
Yeah,
play.
they
play
were in the
They have
ACC,
a
right?
relationship with the ACC.
So why don't they just do that in football? I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean,
Well, they
that's-
do. They have a relationship with the ACC in football. So
Well,
but they also decide to play money games. So that's why Notre Dame plays USC.
Look,
That's all big money games.
the only chance that Notre Dame gets in, I think, is if Baylor beats Oklahoma State. I think that's who's playing for the Big 12 championship, and Auburn. I mean, and Georgia loses to Alabama.
and I think Houston.
Actually, no,
Houston.
I said that wrong. If Georgia beats Alabama, Alabama has 2 losses. But if Alabama beats Georgia, then those 2 teams are both going to get
And
in.
if-
You're
so
gonna see
Georgia
2
gets,
SEC
does Georgia
teams.
have a loss?
Georgia has no losses
Oh,
right now.
all right. So then
So
they're still.
if Georgia wins, and Cincinnati loses to Houston in their final game,
That's the other.
and then in other words, all of a sudden you got all these teams with 2 losses. So Cincinnati will be out of the picture.
Yeah, but I don't know that a Baylor team wouldn't even get in over Notre Dame. A Big 12 champion with the big wins that they've had down the stretch. They won 3 in a row. They're big wins.
it'll be close.
It's going to be close. You
Now,
know,
if you're the
And
money
this all
guy,
goes down Saturday. This Saturday coming
Yeah.
up. That'll be fun.
big Saturday.
I'm rooting for Cincinnati to beat Houston because I know you're not supposed to go by the season before, but like Cincinnati hasn't lost a regular season game in 21 games. Like when you win the year before and then you win the next year, I do think
There's
So
something
we're
to
I
say.
think
so
there's
and,
something
and I
there.
think that guy just signed a big extendo
And
too.
they're always-
He was supposed to be coaching somewhere else
so
by now, and
Cincinnati
they're paying
stepped
him
up.
big.
Yeah.
And now also speaking of coaching, I don't know if you probably read that Lincoln Riley has skipped town,
To
and
USC.
that's big news because Now there's a vacancy in Oklahoma. You know what I mean? So that's even bigger news. There was already links. I mean, do we really want to get on Schefter for kind of putting it into the universe that Cliff Kingsbury, the coach of the Cardinals, his contract runs out and he was like next in line for that Oklahoma
Schefter
job.
Is a pussy because I don't think that's a source saying. I think that he's just literally manifesting.
I don't know if you're allowed to do that as a reporter.
Oh, really?
I don't.
Well,
think so.
Are you allowed to report one side of things? Are you allowed? Schefter does a lot of things you're not supposed to do. Allowed to do. I mean, who's stopping him from tweeting something?
I understand, but when you say per source, that's make sure that's your credibility on the line.
Did you guys cover last week? Did you guys cover last week? What's his name ripping on Alabama fans?
No, Nick Saban, we didn't. But that was.
Oh wow, I heard about that too.
I think in any sport, I could be wrong. Maybe see if you guys agree with me or disagree. In any sport, once you start calling out the fan base, I guess Nick Saban's.
There's a couple guys that can get away with it.
There's 4 or 5 guys who can get away with that, but like now you're in triple overtime, you barely win.
But
I feel like you're. It's like, why would you do? Even if
I think
you
he did it.
Fan base
He did it in a really smart way though, because he
I
was
didn't see it
incorporating.
that way.
He was incorporating the way his players are approaching the games the same way. You know, like he was talking a lot about his players, talking about trap games, and everybody gets ahead of themselves, thinking that Texas A&M has a loss, so they're not good anymore. No, it's like you lose a game. These teams are still really good. And just because they have a loss and their season is over, they're not bad teams.
I know, but you just, as soon as you say, you call out your fans.
Yeah, it's probably that's
when's I'll tell you this. Here's the trivia question. When's the last coach who called out his fans who kept his job a year or two later? Usually they're gone.
Very true.
I mean,
definitely
on the spot, let me think.
Baker just did it.
I mean, well,
he's not a coach.
Anyway,
Dak Prescott after his press conference on Thursday
players and coaches are very different.
Okay, but he said, like, if you want to jump off the bandwagon, go ahead. We're not going to need
Saban,
you.
You know what? You're the best college coach of all time, and it's not really close. Just go coach the game Saturday and recruit every great player.
I don't mind what he said.
We'll see.
Of course
we'll see. But that is some college talk to start us off. I will say, before we get into the football slate, a big revenge game for the Knicks to beat Ice Trae Young over the weekend. That was fun.
Nice.
To me, I was just like, that feels good. I don't know if they're going to be able to turn that into a 4 games out of 7, but listen, it was nice to see.
And I would like to make my prediction that Notre Dame will not make it, and it will be Oklahoma State as the 4th. It's going to be Michigan, Cincinnati, Georgia, and Oklahoma State.
And who wins the championship? Georgia.
Their defense has been too good.
Crushing people.
But you never know because
of course you never know. I mean, you can't make a prediction like this now. But
getting back to my Knicks real quick, just hope everybody taped the game Friday night against the Suns.
Jimmy still uses the phrase taped.
And keep that on your dresser. So when the Knicks barely make the playoffs,
just play it 4 times.
And me and Dave are going to be like, no, we can do this. We can do it. I'll say, Dave, why don't you come over to my house? We're going to watch the Suns game from
We'll pop open a bottle of wine. We'll watch the November game. That was really good in Hartford.
We stink.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. We'll see what happens. Yeah, you're right. They get Ice Trae Young. That was Kyle chiming in. Kyle will be joining us on Wednesday. They're going to trash Trae Young again on Christmas Day.
When you say again, do you mean like did they win game 3 of the playoffs last year? Did they trash Trae Young or didn't he trash them?
It just happened.
It just happened yesterday.
Oh,
so it's the second one.
Dude, listen. Again, like
I thought you said Phoenix though.
That was on Friday.
Oh,
listen.
See, I'm all fucked
up. The Knicks are all about season. November basketball.
Yeah. At least I had the Knicks and the Rangers. I know we don't talk any hockey.
Honestly, the Knicks have had a pretty shitty November. If we really
no doubt.
Well, listen, I have to give credit where credit is due. New York sports right now is lighting up the headlines because you got the Mets doing their thing. You got the Knicks with taking out Trae Young, which is great. The New York Rangers, folks.
I know.
They're crushing it right now. I know Gooch is just falling off his chair. He's got nothing to do with hockey, even though he's got these. He ordered 2 Tampa Bay.
I just sat through Rutgers football, and now we're talking hockey.
We're not talking hockey. I'm just telling you that the Rangers are on fire right now.
This is going to be a 4-hour podcast. We'll cover the Packers in a second.
Oh, well,
how did Tampa Bay do?
Here, Gooch, we'll throw you a layup here, okay? As we start the NFL slate, we start with your boys. The Green Bay Packers moved to 9-3. They are officially the 2 seed again in the NFC, back 1 half a game because, again, the Arizona Cardinals didn't play. So technically you're still back a half a game, but it doesn't matter. They put a hurt in, and the score is a lot closer to what I think this game was. This game was Matt Stafford showed his colors once more, and I told you that in a text last night, is that Stafford looked real shitty. Odell Beckham gets in the end zone, which is like, yay. But guess what, folks?
He was limping
The
around
Rams
the field
have not won a game since Odell Beckham has arrived.
And he dropped a very big third down pass.
Well,
that was keeping the drive alive when the game was still, in play, and it hit right him in the chest, and he fell down. And
I officially I got this feeling came over me where I'm just like, Aaron Rodgers is so full of shit. When I said that is when he rolled out and ran in a touchdown. I'm like, this guy's talking about a busted toe the entire week, and he's just like, there he is. Roll out. He's no threat to run. Yes, he is.
He was limping around by the end of the game.
Yeah, everybody limps around at the end of the football game.
There was one pass that he threw. Of course, I still don't understand.
Was it the one that went over the linebacker's hands and it just like
he hit Adams on the sideline?
Yeah.
And he just looked like
that's another thing. Oh God.
He just flicked it like it was like
I'm so tired.
It looks like he's playing in slow motion and everyone else is playing in other words. He's like, oh, there he is, and he just the ball was. I was like, Daniel Jones couldn't make that.
I'm gonna start singing a different tune now. And I know I've been rah-rah with Chris and happy that he's happy and happy that he comes in here on a victory Monday for the Packers, but I am so utterly sick and tired of Devontae Adams running free. You have one job and you cover one guy.
You would think that with Jalen Ramsey opposite Devontae Adams, that they would have actually tried to put Jalen Ramsey on Devontae Adams. Even
Ramsey was on everybody else but him.
He didn't. It was like, where's
I think
Adams?
They lined up once and they circled it.
No,
Aikman was like, "Oh, here it is."
They lined up once, and there was a penalty on the play, and then the next when they lined up again, it was the first play of the second half.
That's such an ego thing for Ramsey, bro. Because look, Adams knows he can own him, right? Ramsey is the traveling corner. Bullshit. You avoided Devontae Adams.
I want to talk about Ramsey had no shot in that game because he got the okey doke with the COVID toe on the fucking end zone when Rodgers scored his touchdown. That was on Ramsey. That was fucking beautiful. Cobb had a game. Obviously, he hurt his groin, but he fumbled the punt and then made two huge plays after the fact. Matt LaFleur, let's talk about that. I feel like he's, out of all the coaches in the NFL that don't have a ring, he's the one. He's the guy. He's a superstar head coach.
And his father was a great hockey player.
Imagine that.
9-0 in the regular season coming off of a loss. Obviously, they lost a playoff game last year and then lost week 1 this year, so it's kind of like a weird thing. 3-0 going into the bye. He's beaten Sean McVay now 3 straight games. That's his old, I guess, boss because he was on the staff with McVay. But Matt LaFleur, the way he managed the game in the first half where he called a timeout instead of kicking the field goal, he lined up for a 59-yard field goal with Mason Crosby. I was like, what are you doing, dude? Calls timeout, punts it. That leads to a strip fumble. Packers score an easy touchdown. And then we get another turnover, and it's an easy 10 points based off of one coaching decision. That was a huge matchup to me, more so than the game was the coaches, and Matt LaFleur showed his worth for sure.
I can't tell if at this point now, I can't tell if Gucci likes Matt LaFleur.
He's a fucking man. Kidding me?
The next time the Packers play like one of my Jimmy thinks they stink team, if I was their defensive coordinator, I'd walk into the coach's office on Monday and say, listen, I'm going to put everyone on Devontae Adams. We're going to leave Cobb alone on the right. And we're going to see if Aaron Rodgers
just panic throws like, oh my God, he's wide open.
Because I think
he'd still find Devontae Adams.
Because I was like, I think Rodgers is such a dick. He's still going to try. I'm going to have 11 guys, no pass rush. All 11 guys, including linemen, covering Devontae Adams.
Here's an interesting take, though, also. AJ Bascone, obviously the prop beaver coming in on it. He says, I'm all out on McVay. Are we done with this?
I'm not going to say that I'm done with McVay, but he had one decision late in the game yesterday where they had no timeouts. It's 3rd and 1. It's 3rd and 1. There's 30 seconds to go in the game. You're down 11, and you run the ball? What? They stuffed it. It didn't matter. But my point is, even if you get the first down, you're probably going to kick the field goal on the next play. Like, what good is that?
When you need 10 points, you always take the faster method first.
Honestly, I think there's a case that could have been made to kick the field goal 3 plays earlier. When they had it would have been
as soon as you get if you know you need the 11 points, you gotta take what you're given.
But look,
immediately
the Rams are all bells and whistles on the outside.
What happened to the
Robert Woods getting hurt?
When they got freaking Von Miller? Nobody's scoring on us. Are you kidding? The Rams look more susceptible than any other team in the NFL.
The Rams couldn't stop the Packers. The game was not. The game was. You guys are saying it was more of not as close as the score indicated. I didn't see it that way. I saw a team that we can't stop Rodgers, but and when you fumble the punts and stuff like that,
there was a point in that game yesterday where Matthew Stafford. This is what won us the game. The offense did their job. A.J. Dillon did his job. The offensive line all banged up. 3 starters out, bro. that was a fucking elite
team
performance
win.
by them. But
It's a team win.
really, it's the defense. They gave up an 80-yard touchdown in the first quarter. Right, take that off the board.
Van Jefferson.
And at one point, midway,
ruined my fantasy game.
Just point that I'm making is Matthew Stafford was 8 for 18 at one point with 154 yards and 2 picks and a fumble forced, and he had an 80-yard touchdown in there. So outside of one play, he really had 10 drives where he didn't even get a first down.
When you fumble the punt at the 20, I mean, and you throw, I mean,
Yeah,
the turnover.
listen, the Rams did themselves no favors.
A lot of turnovers. So
yeah, no, the Rams did themselves no favors, and that's it. Like the Packers are at 9-3, and now what better feeling to have going into a bye week?
I can't trying to picture what point Jimmy was trying to make there, where he was trying to discredit the Packers defense, but I just
I didn't say that. I said that what I'm trying to tell you is the turnovers were the game. You have Aaron Rodgers, that's always a constant. Okay. And then turnovers were the reason why
and they couldn't
was.
run the ball on us. That's also the game. And we got to the quarterback.
Take away some of those turnovers, a different game.
So it's a victory Monday for Gooch, right?
Yes.
He's feeling good. But you know what? You know what, Jimmy? It is also a victory Monday for ready?
Yes,
you're not going to believe this. Both of us.
Yes.
You know why?
I knew
because
you were
the Cowboys lost on Thanksgiving, ruined my holiday, right? And then I had to suffer through that on
You're
Friday's
worried
show.
about-
But
what have I been
the
saying?
New York Football Giants do the Dallas Cowboys a little bit of a service here, and they beat the Philadelphia Eagles 13-7. And what can be considered the most entertaining game I've ever watched, because Jalen Hurts once again comes out and shows his colors. And what's his colors? He can't throw the football.
First of all, but you're wrong, because at the end of the game, he drove his team downfield. He threw a perfect strike right into a receiver's hands in the end zone. Game over. Eagles win. And the ball hit off the guy's hands.
How many drop balls did the Giants secondary have in that drive alone? They could have put the game on ice 3 times.
Jalen Reagor did drop 2 touchdowns in the final 4
in any
event.
event.
But you know what? Again,
event.
I had to call up my expert in all things playoff is my cousin John. I always say, John, all right, what's the deal with the Giants? He goes, oh, Jimmy, they have to win. They have to go 5-1. I said, okay, let's look at who they play. And I left and I was like, wow, the Giants continue. Their schedule is so easy.
You know what?
For one game. Cowboy game.
Oh, I mean, do the Cowboys scare you right now?
Yeah,
not as much.
But the Chargers,
in the games in New York,
the Chargers don't.
Well,
the Redskins don't.
But you know what?
The Giants have such an easy schedule. It's a joke.
With this win,
finish 8-9.
With this win, the Giants popped up on something yesterday. It scared the crap out of me. They popped up on the "In the Hunt" graphic on NBC. I'm like, what? What are the Giants doing there? And look,
there's only 2 teams that are not in the hunt,
right?
The Lions and
NFC is loaded up top, and then it's loaded with a bunch of mediocre teams. And we'll get into the NFC playoff picture in just a little bit. But I mean, look, the Giants take care of business. The Cowboys now officially have the 2.5 game lead with the game in hand. So I'm excited about that regard. What I'm not excited about is watching Daniel Jones play football. He's not. It ain't him. They won this game. Congratulations, but it ain't him.
I still have an incomplete on him. I'm going to rely on the coaching staff to figure out. I think the big issue is Saquon Barkley. I don't care what anyone. I don't know. The Giant offensive line is like.
Well, they haven't addressed that in years.
But Saquon Barkley doesn't.
Hernandez, maybe.
If you put Barkley on the Packers, he doesn't run. His legs, they slip.
I agree. He's Trent Richardson.
And he also. And you look at Penn State when he was there, he's a guy stop, boom, stop. Now, that rarely works
too much in the
NFL.
backfield. That
rarely works.
You got to hit the hole. I said it 2 weeks in a row. Gallman was better for them last year.
Booker's better than
Booker's
him.
better for them this year.
They run north.
But you
this
know
guy's
what?
very east and west, likes to make a couple moves.
All this news about the Giants, and we didn't mention the big story on the Giants this week.
Jason Garrett?
No, Gettleman's done after this season.
Well, nobody said that, but
no, they're saying there was reports.
Now here's my next question.
There was reports. Who would lie?
Here's my next question. Right? Okay, and this more for Jimmy or Giants fans as a whole. The way structures work in the NFL, the GMs typically like to have their head coaches. If Gettleman goes and the Giants fail, is Judge gone too?
And Daniel Jones is gone. The whole regime is gone.
You think so?
Yeah. What are they going to do? You're going to have a GM come in and risk his career and his next 3 years of his life on having Daniel Jones as a quarterback? No, they might give him 1 year as like a.
No, I don't think. I think you got to rip that Band-Aid off. Jones will be there, but the GM,
Yeah, but here's
the
what
GM
happened.
could give him a wink, like, "All right, buddy, I like your style."
The
but
reason
you got
I
a
don't
short
the
leash.
reason I don't think that works is because it gives the GM too much leeway early, where it's like, oh, it's a free year where it doesn't count.
Right.
Because if they fail, then the GM could turn to the ownership and say, you know what? Well, it wasn't my quarterback, it wasn't my coach.
Now you got to
so
let
you
me
have
go
to give
get
him
him.
a little bit more time, which I guess that makes sense because you shouldn't be hiring him if you weren't willing to give him.
But do
at
you
least
think
some
Joe
time.
Judge should be absolutely fired as the football coach? of
I
the
don't
Giants?
believe Joe Judge warrants like he
Well, let's
he
see
hasn't
how they
done bad
finish.
or good enough either way with
Well,
the
that's
roster
why I
that
think
they
the
Let's
have.
see how they
GM
finish, Jimmy, because look, that you gave him, you say cupcake schedule, right? And relatively on paper, it is, right?
See how they
But
do.
let's just, what if in that cupcake schedule, you still finish 6-11? You got to go. You got to go.
Yeah, he's
The 2
gone. He's
seasons?
gone.
I don't know. I don't know.
How
what,
many coaches? How many?
Honestly,
I don't know
NFL
what I don't know what the Giants have to finish right now for Judge to keep his job. I don't know. 7 wins, 8 wins. I don't know.
I think it might be completely tied to Gettleman.
That's
and
how
the
it
new
should
GM.
be. That's how it
has
should
to
be.
go.
Gettleman should,
Gettleman's going to be
or the
gone.
new
He's
GM
out.
should choose your
the
guy.
next GM should come in and have a decision, like have a say in that decision. Whereas, like
Well, you know what the owner might say? Hey, listen.
this is part of the
Before
deal.
I hire you, we want to go another year with this guy. And the GM,
we
if he's
did,
got
we did
balls,
draft him 6th overall, so we really got to like give him that one more
I
shot.
think the
Like
Jones thing is
stop,
more about who's available in the draft. Has nothing to do. They're not going to. Who are they going to trade for?
But even if
We'll
Jones
see.
is available, if there's a guy available in the draft, then I think if he's a young,
Oh.
if you bring in a veteran, then you could get rid of Daniel. No, you could keep Daniel Jones around, right? Because him being a backup to a veteran quarterback that's established might not be bad for 1 year. Or Jones, this guy compete for
Let's
the job.
find out.
If you bring in a young kid, Daniel Jones got to go.
Let's find out
I-
how.
I don't think there's not going to be a quarterback. Giants are going to finish with the Bears pick. Probably, I'm guessing in that 8 to 17.
There's going
realm.
to
Gonna
be
be-
5 quarterbacks taken in the first round again.
I know, but there's
and they're
none
not
of them.
they're just not touting him
But
like they touted last year.
Shouldn't you draft maybe get 2 linemen?
Maybe you could draft another version of Daniel Jones with the 6th pick early. for no
Perfect.
reason.
I just
Sounds
don't.
good
I
to
don't
me.
think they're going to get a
if the
replacement.
Giants wanted to draft Daniel Jones, he might still be available. I don't think anybody would have picked him yet.
I don't think so either.
Like
Honestly.
he would have been available in the 2nd round.
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe 3rd.
Yeah.
And Barkley shouldn't have went at number 2, and they should have probably took Micah Parsons, and they shouldn't. So there's
Michael Parsons is a beast.
there's-
Anyway,
there's a million guys.
on to the other team in New York. By the way, clean sweep in New York.
Giants win, the Jets win.
The Jets get a win over the Texans. This game was nothing to write home about. We're not going to sit here and analyze the Jets, but they did play for the coach. They did, they're not quitting, obviously, and the Jets get a win. They're 3-8 now. I don't know what it's going to take for any Jets fans to feel optimism
No,
about
quarterback
this
stinks
quarterback
still.
because Zach Wilson, again, he didn't have it either. And I don't know, when are we going to say, like, oh, that's the guy. He's definitely going to be
He's-
the guy.
I think he falls right into
Maybe
that
when he
Daniel
gets
Jones
his driver's
category.
license and then let him grow
Possibly,
up a little
possibly.
bit. He's literally
Maybe Chuck
still
E. Cheese
17 years
birthday
old.
first, then the big contract.
I
don't
think
know,
that I think
but-
it's early to say anything about Zach Wilson. He's played in 6 career games and he's had a
Yeah.
fucking shitty team surrounding
Jimmy
him.
Palumbo's here, but I got a comment from Facebook. Jets stink, Houston stinks next.
Deal.
So I feel like he would have done that. So that's
Yes,
kind of
that's
weird.
true.
But
But good
before
for
we
the
get
Jets.
before we get into the rest, let's take a break. And when we come back, we have the rest of the NFL slate. And of course, rounding out week 12, we have the Washington football team taking on the Seattle Seahawks here tonight, which, by the way, if that blows up, if the Seattle Seahawks, for whatever reason, drop to Washington and the season's just completely brink, a guy like Russell Wilson in New York doesn't really new GM, who knows? We've seen freaking what Cohn's doing. So we'll see. Let's take a
Seattle's
break.
not trading Russ.
We'll see.
That would be
Myself and Gooch are both getting a little older. And one of the first things to go is your vision. Thank goodness for our hookup over at Absolute Eyewear in Woodbridge, New Jersey, right on Main Street next to the train station. They have glasses for all ages, all budgets. They have safety glasses, sports glasses. They are a full-service powerhouse offering eye exams and even free lenses for the kids. They work with BCBS, AAA, AARP, giving massive discounts. They're open 5 days a week, closed on Wednesdays and Sundays. Call 732-326-3937 to get your first pair of Ray-Ban, Burberry, Coach, Polo, you name it, they got it. Go see Craig and Johnine right now.
Still waiting on just trying to follow up with all this. Apparently 7 guys on the roster or not the roster, in the staff of the roster with the Cowboys. So trying to figure that out. But again,
What's the deal
can't
with
figure it
their
out yet.
It's really is Dak and the 2 wide receivers. That's all that matters.
That's what I'm saying. Put Dak in solitary confinement for the next 3 days. Put him in a bubble. I don't
Right.
give a shit. Just get him on the field.
No, the Cowboys
So I have not read
Cowboys
anything
have-
else outside of McCarthy, but we'll see. Kyle has a question for you, Jimmy. What's with everyone says stinks now? I don't get why people are bringing that phrase back. I hate it.
I don't think it's for Jimmy. I think it's just in general because everybody, even in the comments, are saying stinks.
I think sucks is a little harsh.
Can't say sucks in 2021, is according to Scoop. That makes
Listen,
sense.
I
I
think
listen,
I
we're
think
gonna start
sucks
calling
used to
them-
be a curse to me.
I'll be like the Giants blow.
Well,
How
you
about that?
you
We
can
could
do
take
that.
it. We could say whatever we want. in
No, I'm
2021.
sorry, Kyle. You know what? Listen,
No,
you,
it's like,
you stink. I like the word stinks because it means that you just stink. It can mean you could be 5 and 6 and stink. So like half the league. So you know, you know what? That post you just wrote that stinks. So we're moving on. But I love you. Thanks for listening.
Kyle is the sauce, and he'll be back here on.
I know who he is.
I was just telling the fans. I know you know who he is. Christ Almighty God! All right, so moving on to one of the reddest, hottest teams in the NFL right now.
Love Dina too. Love her.
Yeah, no, I know shit.
I love her post. I'm mad that guys are like hitting on me, and I'm like, I don't mind that at all.
Oh my
When you're
God.
smoking hot and you're doing football picks and you're asking guys not to think you're hot, I don't understand.
I mean, look, she's in her own
You're
world.
a
I mean, she's
beautiful woman.
part of the Sauce Network over there. All right. Anyway, the Patriots 8-4 now with another win. They are now officially in first place in the AFC East, and they've beaten the Tennessee Titans. Now, this game, it was one-sided. The Titans just couldn't find their way. Like they brought that kid up from the practice squad. He had a great run, which is great for a couple
Yeah,
fantasy people. But
honestly,
like,
I got some. He's one of the reasons why I went 5-0 yesterday.
yeah,
Nice
I mean,
little
look, he's
addition.
he's the
Nice
guy to
little
get.
dish.
But now, I mean,
This is-
we've been
this is-
talking about the Patriots for the last couple weeks.
This is the
Can I
biggest
just say
story.
something real quick?
What?
It's now officially time to start hating the Patriots again. Guys,
No,
'cause
not- I'm
they're
not-
good. We don't need. Look, Bill
I-
proved it. He
I-
proved it. He's a great coach. It wasn't
No.
Brady. It was in fact Bill
No,
as well.
it's just regular season, but I think it's definitely a case of if you're a Patriot fan in Boston right now, you are just going, we're back.
Yeah, but that's
'Cause
my
they
point.
just smoked the
that's,
Titans.
That's my fucking.
I don't hate
point.
it. I still. What about with the Buccaneers? We'll get to that. in a
Look, I
second.
hate them too, but I've hated them since
I
last
don't
year.
hate the Patriots this
Listen,
year. I don't know why.
Is this like is the
I'm
writing
saying
on the
it's-
wall? Are we
it's
gonna
now
get
time.
Are we gonna get Tom Brady? Belichick Super Bowl
No,
here?
the writing is on the
Be
wall
awesome.
that we are going
No,
to.
it would not.
no,
be
that would
awesome.
be bad because either way, yeah. I almost want.
Nobody wins.
I want a
No.
Brady NFC Championship game and
Tampa Bay's
lose.
not good enough.
And
Tampa Bay's not good enough.
I don't think Tampa's good enough.
I know you hate Tom Brady, but Jesus, bro, they just beat one of the hottest teams in football. We'll get into it. But staying with the Patriots here, Mac
good.
Jones delivers again. They're doing it with no-name receivers. Kendrick Bourne is something special all of a sudden. Like, they're doing it, and they're doing it the Bill Belichick way. And now they're 8-4.
Bro, they outscored their opponents 155 points or 148 points over their
Ridiculous.
6-game winning streak. That's
well,
dominant.
Bill Belichick has always been a very good defensive coach, and he's got the Patriots locked
And
in.
his son is still on crack.
Offensive line, defensive line,
They're good.
pressure on the quarterback, smart quarterback play.
He
How
had no-
good is
he had an
Red
issue they had to
Sleeves?
replace.
What's his name?
Matthew Judon.
Oh my God, he's so good.
He's probably got the best celebration in the league too.
What's
the
he
sacks.
do?
It's like
forget.
he's just cleaning the blood off his arm after he killed somebody.
Um,
Essentially,
You know, me and my
that's what
brother
I
had to
get
look
from
up.
it.
We had to look it up like an Urban Dictionary last night because we're curious. Every time CeeDee Lamb gets a first down, do you know what he does? He like wipes his nose. He like does and he points to the first down. Like instead of pointing first down, he goes first down, right? Wipes his nose. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Then I taught my daughter how to do it, right? Because I was like, hey, when CeeDee Lamb, then you do it. And of course, she's like, yeah, you're right. And I'm like, shit, what if I just taught her a gang sign? I don't know what it is, right? I have no idea. So like we looked it up, and apparently Deshaun Watson was the one to start it.
Oh, cool.
Getting
Great.
slimy or some kind of slimy something where
Slime
it means like
season
F
or-
all y'all and your team or something like that. I'm like, okay, now I got to unteach her how to do that because now it's just bad. But anyway, we're starting the Patriots again. They're a full powerhouse team, man. And we'll see how it goes because now, again, we said it last week, we are going to get 2 meetings between the Patriots and the Bills in December. So give me all of that. The game we all watched last night wasn't really very appealing to anybody from the outsider's perspective. Now, look, I know we have resident Ravens fan probably watching right now, Jack. He's a big Ravens guy, and the Ravens continue to be the number 1 seed. If not, I think I'm probably mistaken on the record. We didn't adjust the records, so they're 8-3 right now. They're cruising, right? Can people just can people just start to at least concede a little bit on the fact that Lamar Jackson is not that good of a thrower? He can lace him in there at times, but 4 interceptions in the first half, he looked like poop. And don't tell me he didn't. You're shaking your head
I'm
like,
saying that you got to stop with the like, oh, he's good one week because he has a good game, and then
but
the
I've
next
never
week he
really
has a
actually
shit
went out and
game.
said like he's good.
You have
No.
after the Buffalo
I
game.
say he's a
when
good
they came
quarterback
back, he's-
because of what he can do on
Look,
the with his
Lamar
legs.
Jackson, he has his setbacks when it comes to throwing the football. But to sit and say that he's not good at throwing it, I won't go that far. He's had too much success in this league in such a small sample size, albeit, but he's had success throwing the football for me to sit here and say that he's not good. The Cleveland Browns, if there is one thing that they're good at, it's disrupting the quarterback's rhythm and getting after the quarterback. I will say that Cleveland did bring it defensively. Lamar did have a stretch in the third quarter, which was as bad as I've seen out of any quarterback, but I still won't admit that he's just not a good passer because I've seen guys struggle that I know are good passers. Patrick Mahomes
Now look,
went through a stretch.
The question
where
is
he's
this:
been bad.
if Lamar was on the Giants, would the Giants be much better?
Yes. Yes.
See, Dave says no. You say yes.
Yes.
If
100%.
listen,
If Daniel
not gonna
Jones
take
was on the
away
Bucs,
what the
he'd
kid
be
has
the best
done.
passer in the league.
What is so impressive about what the Ravens offense has been able to put on the field the last 2 years for Lamar? I'm talking about as far as pass catchers go. Let's
I think
be
he's
real.
good.
They haven't had weapons.
he's another one that remember how you talked to me about Saquon Barkley like running into the ground. You know,
he
like
jukes himself out too much.
I think that's what Lamar does too at some points.
Yeah,
like he's just like, oh, I'm going to
100%.
do all this, and then just
100%. He's best when he's actually not breaking the pocket. I know that that's his game, and he adds that element running the ball, but he's best when he's actually able to sit in the pocket. But when they try and do too much, that's when he's throwing picks. When he's on the run, he's not Rodgers, where he loses a lot of accuracy when he's on the move.
yeah.
I will
Well,
give you
AJ
that.
brings up the throw to Andrews. Dude, that wasn't that good of a throw. I mean, like he had to just launch it up, and Andrews had to come back and get it. That wasn't on Lamar. Like that's not a Lamar throw. That's more effort out of Mark Andrews. That has nothing to do with the throw.
I
Oh
just
my
wanted to
goodness!
let
Hey, listen, I get it. There are people out there that are Lamar Jackson apologists, and they like whatever he does is gold, and that's great, and that's fine. And they're 8-3, so they're winning football games. Not like he's a
I'm
loser.
basically the person that I see it a little bit of both sides of it. I do see both points where he's not the greatest passer, but then you see games where he has 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. He did have a crazy season 2 years ago, right?
Correct. He won MVP. I get it.
And this is for Kyle. I just want to let you know that the Cleveland Browns are heading towards stinks. Just letting you know that.
Well, I mean,
They are heading towards the Stinks crew.
Yes, they are.
Look, again, flipping the coin. The Ravens, again, 8-3, number 1 seed. Let them see what they can keep doing.
Well, here's
the
something.
Browns are now in a very downward turn where Baker ain't getting any healthier. There's no more bye weeks for them. So he's got to roll and roll with this. You got Kareem Hunt's dad bitching and whining about his playing time or whatever the hell. Who cares? But like the Browns right now, their defense is good. Myles Garrett's fun to watch. Clowney, fun to watch. They get to the quarterback. Great. They got to score points,
honestly,
bro.
their offense
Since
is-
Odell left,
their-
they scored
their
not more than
offense- their
14
offense
points.
is fun to watch.
Their offense is fun to watch. They haven't
Because
scored.
I hate Baker so much
Oh.
that it's
Do
fun
you
to
think?
watch him.
Do you think the
fucking
Raven
limp around.
earlier in the season we talked about teams who don't rarely stink, like the
the Packers,
Packers,
the
the
Ravens,
Steelers, all that stuff. Do you think the Ravens are in that bracket yet?
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
they win a lot.
Like-
they win a lot.
In
yeah.
the last 15 years, it seems like
I've never seen a bad Ravens team
Exactly
in a long
right,
time.
exactly right.
Maybe in the sense they won the Super Bowl.
I would kill as a fan.
and they were in the Super
I would
Bowl a couple
kill
years
for that.
ago. Jamie, they were
I
in
know, but what I'm saying
2013.
is-
They were in the Super Bowl.
I know Baltimore fans are probably aggravated they haven't won
I
this.
think there was that
But
one
as a
stretch with
fan,
Tyrod Taylor as their starter.
As
for
a
one
fan
year.
base-
Man, they were competitive.
I think as a fan base, I know it's so great if your team is always like 8 wins or more over a decade. It's such a great thing.
Welcome to Gooch's life.
Right.
I haven't had a
Terms,
losing.
like, listen,
You know, I haven't had a losing season outside of Mike Sherman
okay,
1
but-
year.
But
and it
I'll
was
tell you
like-
what'll
What year
happen.
was that? I forget.
This is what's
Brett
going to
Favre's
happen.
only losing season. They went 4-12,
Oof.
Here's what's going to happen. Someday,
and then they did Aaron Rodgers injuries. That was a
But
bad year.
someday Aaron Rodgers is going to say, everyone, listen, I've been playing 41 years and I'm going to retire. And
Time to
that
go.
moment, Packers will immediately spiral. They
Yeah,
can't-
we
they will
thought
not recover.
we thought that when Brett Favre left.
But you had Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen twice. It's happened twice. It's not going to happen again.
We
Trust
had-
me.
we're
You guys
revisiting
are
the
headed
lineage
for-
conversation.
Packers are headed for towards Stinkville when
Oh,
you get
shut
to
the
Rodgers.
fuck up. Yeah, as long as Matt LaFleur is the head coach for
Guy.
the next 15 years.
Guy
that should be all
Lafleur.
right.
Guy Lafleur. Anyway, on to another team that's kind of lighting the world on fire. I think they started off 2-4, and then everybody was kind of writing off the 49ers. They rattled off another win And now they're 6-5. And now all of a sudden, as I'm sitting here as a Cowboys fan saying, I don't know if we're ever going to get over this 4th seed hump if they win the NFC East, which God willing, they will. And I'm sitting there like, well, what if we got to play the Rams, right? Maybe not right. Maybe the 49ers are the team that just run all over everybody and get to that 5th seed. Because look, if you can't win the West, which by right now, they're 3 games behind the Cardinals with 6 to play, so similar to the Cowboys, it would be the Cardinals and the Cowboys' epic collapse for them not to win their divisions. But now, don't look now, the 49ers can kind of take over the Rams.
Well, the 49ers are definitely firmly entrenched in the 5th. I think it's the 5th seed right now with a win over the Rams and 5 straight wins over the Rams at that. So with another game to play this season against the Rams. So they kind of control their own destiny in terms of jumping them for the 4th spot.
I also think it's really interesting that the 49ers, they're 4-1 on the road. That's like the best record. They have the best road.
I wanted to give a shout out to their defense for doing God's work and putting Dalvin Cook on the shelf a little bit because he should be suspended.
A little bit.
He'll
be done. He's probably going to be done for a while.
Yeah. So thank you to.
So Dalvin Cook
defense.
out, but if we're talking running backs, Elijah Mitchell, man.
Yeah.
I benched him like a schmuck because I thought Elijah Moore was going to do something. God forbid I ever start another Jet again in my life. So that'll be the reason why I lose to my dad. But anyway, no,
Elijah, for your son, you may have to start a Jet on your
the other day I heard the phrase, ready for this? He looks so cute and green. I was like, I will murder you. So don't you ever say that again. So anyway, so the 49ers are rolling right now. The team is not rolling is the Minnesota Vikings. They basically wrote themselves off, I think, in this. There might be in the conversation for the 7.
When you look at it, yeah, they're probably. But even this, bro, there's still a lot of football to go, and they're behind the 49ers by a game. They did have the loss to them, so that's going to probably hurt them in this
game and a half automatically.
But when you're looking at the teams that are there, it's Carolina, it's the Eagles. A lot of these teams are just like up and down, where you expect one of them to take over and just keep winning football. That looks to be the 49ers. But I wouldn't say that Minnesota is dead because the 49ers are now looking to pass the Rams for the 4th seed, but that 7th seed is still hovering around a below 500 team right now, or at least a 500 team. We'll see. The Vikings, they have a good shot to keep things going.
One of the games that I was really looking forward to watching was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Colts, and it did live up to the billing. The Bucs get the job done, 38-31. The Colts get back to smack down their reality as they go to 6-6, and the Bucs are firmly in the 3rd spot right now in the NFC. Now, Tom Brady, I feel like he went on the road. He said, in his post game, I saw some of it. He's like, I lost the Super Bowl here. I don't really want to talk about the past. Let's talk about the present. And he won the game. And the Bucs, to me, by beating a red hot team on the road, and let's call it how it is. The Colts were a good team going in. They had the tools. Jonathan Taylor's been running. I think he's still running at this point. Like that team, the Colts team, were coming in.
I mean, they
good.
He didn't have
the Bucs took care of business.
That much room to run yesterday. The Tampa Bay's defense is really good against the run. I still, for some reason, I know that this is crazy to say. I just don't think that Tampa has played all that great this year. This was their best win, probably. I guess Dallas week 1, but I think this one on the road against a surging Colts team. This was a really good win for Tampa Bay. But I'm watching Brady, and it's still like, I guess it's been this case for like 10 years now, where I'm looking at the games and I'm just like, I just don't fucking see it. I don't see it.
You don't see what?
I just don't see Brady's missing throws all over the place. You're talking about Lamar being bad. Like Tom Brady's bouncing balls to the receivers.
I did see a couple of those.
And then there's like a roughing the passer call where he doesn't get touched, or a targeting call on. It's like I see these lucky fucking calls go Brady's way, dating back to the Tuck rule.
Are you new here? This has been a thing. This has been a thing.
I'm not going to sit here and say that Tampa Bay got a gift, but I do think that late in that game, there was a little bit of things that went their way that I was just shaking.
I just told Jimmy, what if it's a Brady Belichick Super Bowl? Like, what if the league is legitimately fixed completely where these guys face off? We live in a world where that can happen. We are living in the Matrix. But yeah, well, look, it doesn't
Leonard
matter.
Fournette was the show yesterday anyway.
Apparently, Scottie Pippen went on record and said Brady's garbage as well. So, which is great because Scottie Pippen being in the news is just that much fun. Tune in every week to the Cross Court Cast for the Scottie Pippen show because that's all they talk about. Great show, great turnout last week as well. But yeah, the Bucs get it done, and they control their own to pretty much stay afloat at the 3 seed. I don't see them overtaking the Packers. I know that I've been saying it every week. I think the Cardinals fold a little bit, so we'll see going forward, but whatever. A game that means nothing to nobody, even though the Falcons with a win here popped up in the whole in the hunt thing.
No.
I just don't think they're in the hunt.
They went like 31 drives going into yesterday's game without a touchdown.
Yes, that's insane.
They're
That's
not
absolutely
they're not
insane.
anything.
The Jaguars, obviously, which I found out over the weekend. Now that I was at the wrestling show on Saturday, and there was a lot of AEW guys that were in, and some of them are my friends that I've known for a long time. And they told me that Tony Khan sends out this thing every week. Who wants tickets? And nobody ever goes. Like the owner of the team is giving you free press box,
Yeah, no.
luxury suites, and you're like, "No, we're good. We're good. We don't." It's like, how bad of a team do you have to be not to even want to go to with a free ticket? Oh my goodness! But yeah, the Jaguars stink. You know what? And I said this to my brother. You know, when it comes to like these new quarterbacks that come in the league, like a Zach Wilson, like a Trevor Lawrence, I always kind of give them a little bit of leeway, considering the fact that the reason why you're the number one pick is because the team is atrocious, right? I watched some of these throws and decisions that Trevor Lawrence, I don't see what everybody was seeing when he was coming out of college. I don't see that yet. And maybe what? Because they don't have the guys?
I have to say this again. Look, Peyton Manning set the record for picks by a rookie in his rookie season.
But it's,
You understand? Like it takes time. The quarterback
I
is
get it, but
so hard. And then you're in a league with teams that are good and your team's not good.
I mean,
and
it took Tom Brady 4 series to become the greatest of all time. Aaron Rodgers struggled for the first 4.5 hours when he first got on the practice field.
when he got off the bus, he's like,
takes
you know
time
what?
for
I
these
stubbed my
guys.
toe.
Yeah, it takes time.
forget it.
but you have to think like Tom Brady wasn't picked first. So he didn't go to a shit team. New England was a solid
why
team.
I think Mac Jones might be the most successful out of
You
all of them.
know-
He's getting a middle of the pack team right away.
Aaron Rodgers
right away.
Aaron Rodgers inherited a team that was in the
You know,
NFC
the
Championship the
Patriots
year
sucked
before.
last year. What are you talking about?
You get what I'm saying?
Picks wise, he was the 15th pick. So therefore, like that team isn't the shittiest team in the world, you know. So that's why he has a somewhat good of a roster around him. Good defense, good coach. You know what I mean? Like
Was Matt Ryan in Super
Trevor
Bowl
Lawrence
4
is a
or
16-year-old
Super Bowl
girl
8?
at this point.
Was he on the Chiefs and 2? They lost.
in the frozen
Trevor Lawrence
tundra.
is a 16-year-old girl, and Zach Wilson looks like a 16-year-old
And another thing
boy.
about Trevor Lawrence, why do I feel like his face is like right up in his face mask? Like his face is very big.
Shouldn't he be in the back of the helmet a little bit?
Right. I feel like he's right there. Like if
Like,
something
if he
were to
get-
fly out of the ground, bang, it's gonna hit him right
Like
in
if
the
he
face.
gets poked in the eye, I'm like, well, it serves you right.
Exactly. Like
I agree.
Oh
I agree
man,
with
it's rough. Anyway, there are listen, Scoop Espo.
We're
is-
mocking our
again,
face masks.
I know. Scoop Espo is a Jaguars fan. He says he watches every game, and Trevor does not look good. You know what I mean? So like, listen, we're not
I
coaches.
haven't watched it.
Shut up, Scoop.
All right. Looks like Kyle chiming in again. Very few quarterbacks are completely handled the keys to the offense like in the rookie year. Lawrence is asked to do way more than any other rookie quarterback. Well, he was handed the keys to a really bad offense. So I don't know. You know, it could just be a team thing.
It wasn't even
And you have to
keys.
look
The
at
door
who's
was
developing these quarterbacks. Urban Meyer, what's he going to do? Like the Tim Tebow jump past fucking 13 plays in a row? That's
Tim Tebow's
Urban-
book is coming out for pre-order if you want to get involved.
Oh,
that was
my
not
God.
my way to.
What
plug
sport
Tim
is he
Tebow's
playing
book.
now? Is he playing? Is he
No,
ice
he's
skating?
just
I
all
thought he
about
was ice skating.
all about JC now, bro. Like he's writing a book.
I feel bad he's not choosing another sport. I want to know what else. he's
Well,
playing.
if the world goes on lockdown again, you're going to see him playing cornhole.
but
on
I
ESPN
heard he's
Ocho.
got. You know what? The Knicks went and talked. I heard he's got an awesome 3-point shot.
You never know, man.
Imagine over to God. Yes, and it counts. And the Knicks.
And he hits it, and everybody's like, "Oh, 3-ball," and he's just like the whole time.
And
just
Thibodeau is relying on Jesus here with 8:05 remaining. It has been all Tim Tebow.
my God is
He
an
was just
awesome
signed
God.
4 hours ago.
You never know, man. Listen, I've seen stranger things. All right, so on to a game that kind of shocked me a little bit, which if you watch this game, I just traded for Melvin Gordon, right? So like I have Melvin Gordon on my rosters. I was really into this game. I feel like with the 28 points they scored, they never had the ball. Like the time of possession, I have to look into the time of possession here. I feel like every time that game flashed on the red zone, the Chargers had the ball. It was just ridiculous because there was a lot of short fields. My guy, Patrick Surtain Jr., took one to the house. Okay. I mean, look, truth be told, was I upset on draft night? Yes. Am I upset now? No. I'll take Micah Parsons 8 times over.
I have to give a
over
shout out to
I
AJ.
remember somebody who said that, who turned and said that to you. Is like, I feel like you're going to be better off with that one. I literally turned. I mean, I'm a Penn State guy, so Parsons, I know what he was about.
Yeah. But anyway, so
I just shout out to AJ. I will let you know that yes, the Chargers have been dropped to the stinks on Jimmy's list. So,
The Chargers have been moved. This is a very important.
this is
You
big.
heard of power rankings, ladies and gentlemen? No, get on
Stink
stink,
rate.
get on the stink list,
I
and
should
you
get-
are just toast.
I'm going to get JimmyStinksList.com.
There you go. You get that, or you get a new T-shirt, which you can find at chopsports.shop. Which, by the way,
Black
you guys
Friday
wanna-
sales?
the Black Friday sale is still going on right now
All
because
right.
it's Cyber Monday. So hoodie I'm wearing right now, Chop Sports hoodie. Go get the Jimmy Palumbo stuff. Go get a Packers Pulse T-shirt if you're into that. That whole deal. But yeah, we'll see. But anyway, Chargers get the Broncos get the win, and the why? Oh yeah, there's mugs. There's all sorts of stuff. We got. Oh, what are you working on? Ornaments, right?
Ornaments.
Ornaments now. They're horny ornaments.
Ornaments? Oh, wait, what
Ornaments.
happens you get? So,
So
when you
no,
bang
yeah,
a
I got
whore,
Christmas
you,
ornaments
you put a
going.
thing on a tree,
Bang.
every whore you
There
bang?
it is. Done.
All children's clothes will be coming out this week.
That's
so-
pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm
alright.
excited, man. The stores keep on
A
pressing
Jimmy
on.
Palumbo Show onesie getting involved here from the Omni in Atlanta.
Oh my goodness. But anyway, so AFC West looking good. Right now it's going to be a tight race, and it's exciting for the sport. I
I think
guess
Bridgewater's done.
The Broncos are one of those.
could be.
weird-
Drew Lock is it is what it is. Don't look now, but the Miami Dolphins have won a lot of straight games. Okay, they're playing good football. Tua is excited. The Miami fans, which there are maybe 3 or 4 left, they're excited. The AFC 7 seed, I don't know if it's going to be as weak as the NFC 7 seed. So like they're going to have to really start. Like they're gonna have to win out almost to finish like 10-7 or 9-8 to even contemplate making the playoff run. But Tua is playing better, and Flores got these boys playing, and they get another win over
And
the
they
biggest
got-
frauds in the NFL,
And they got
and
off
that
the,
is
they got off the stinks list.
the Carolina Panthers are god awful. I don't ever want to hear Cam Newton with the on back bullshit. He
He
is
stinks.
shit.
Bro,
He
did you hear his
stinks.
post?
You wanna talk about
Did you hear
stinks?
his post
He
game
stinks.
presser where he was like, a lot of these guys they just take things for granted. They thought just because and he referred to himself in third person. He was like,
No, he didn't.
Just because you signed Cam Newton
That's
doesn't mean
awful.
you're going to go out there and win all these games. He's like, we still got to go out there and get it done. It's like, Cam, you were 2 for 38.
Clifford Franklin has skills. Clifford Franklin didn't even know he had.
And it's a good thing he had another 1-yard touchdown so he could make it
Somebody
all
pull
about
that
him again.
reference. What?
Cam
Yeah,
Newton,
again,
1-yard
I feel
touchdown
like Cam
run, and
Newton's
he's
been in
acting
the
like he
league for
fucking
40
saved
years.
the world.
Yeah. And like, dude, stop. Your team is horrible. 3-0 to 5-7. Things have not gone well for Matt Rule and company. So, yeah, here is another one. Finally use the word sucks.
Also,
The Panthers will not win another football game as long as Cam Newton's
Also,
quarterback,
I'm
0
pretty
shot.
sure,
Yeah. of course.
CMC was spotted in a walking boot after the game, so he's probably done as well.
God, that dude is just, it's all the talent in the world, man. He really does. I remember watching him in college. I'm like, this kid's
I
gonna be
wouldn't
great.
pick Christian McCaffrey with the last pick of the 5th round in fantasy football next year. It's just
Yes,
not
you
gonna-
would.
No, I wouldn't.
Yes, you would.
I'm telling you right now,
Fifth round?
there's guys that why waste a 5th round pick? He's not going to play. He just doesn't stay on the field. I don't care. And even when he does now, with all the injuries and all the workload that he's had, you really going to rely on that guy? No,
You
Nope.
think he's done?
I think he's done.
All right.
It's not that bold of a take. It really isn't, because the guy obviously can't stay on the field, but he is a piece of
He's
glass.
a good kid.
Great kid.
He's hurt all the time. That's it.
Sucks at the old injury bug. 2 more games to get to. Oh, 1 more game to get to. Then we'll pick the Monday nighter. This game, the more shocking of all the games. You would think the Pittsburgh Steelers would have showed up for this one, and they did not. And Joe Burrow kind of put on his swaggy hat at the end of this one in their press conference, and they asked him, how does it feel to beat the Steelers twice? And he goes, we beat the Steelers twice. Like, I don't care if it's the Steelers. There's no difference between the Steelers and the next team. Now the Bengals are 7-4. You said it, Gooch, that these guys would slide a little bit. Do you still feel that way, or are you starting to ride them a little bit better? Like,
I mean, I would love
Steelers defense is nobody to
I
sniff
would
at.
I would love for the Bengals to actually be a decent team, and they're kind of proving that they are. There's certain things about them that I don't understand, because they've had some bad losses this year, right? A lot like the Titans, and the Titans are kind of showing their colors right now as well. But the Bengals have had some bad losses. They lost to the Jets. They lost to another shit team. Was it Jacksonville? Or either way, they have 2 bad losses. But then some of their wins, they blew out Pittsburgh. They blew out Pittsburgh twice,
Mhm.
and they blew out Baltimore on the road. So I guess they're for real, because I do believe in Joe Burrow, and that team is playing with the same confidence that he's bringing to the table. You see him getting blocked by TJ Watt on the pick,
Saw that.
right? And instead of being boo-hoo, like you would see Baker try and fight, he was like, all right, like we're up 3 scores, and I'm gonna drop another one on you. He didn't take it and he wasn't like poor me that he got mangled by TJ Watt. He just went out there and played football again. Joe Burrow's the real deal. They have a lot of talent on the outside, and bro, Are you going to eat your words? Because I've eaten my words plenty.
With
Joe Mixon.
yes.
Right. Joe Mixon is balling out right
Yes.
now. He's found his stride.
And he even choreographed the best touchdown celebration of the entire afternoon.
Unbelievable. What
The
was it
whole
from the
offensive
Remember the
line was
Titans?
behind him, just doing the whole juck and jive or whatever
And
the hell he's doing.
he's getting good again, like last year down the stretch where Joe
Yeah.
Mixon's kind of needed time to get started. Whereas you see a lot of running backs this part of the season start to fade. He's getting going. So yeah, I will eat my words on the Bengals. They look like
I'll
a
eat my
real
words on Joe
contender.
Mixon because Mixon
A real
is looking
contender
really
in the
good,
AFC, since there really is no actual real contender in the AFC to me.
except for the Patriots.
Even them.
All right. So one more game tonight to round it out. We have the Washington football team. This line moved a little dramatically. It was the Washington football team were favored on Friday by 1, and now they are dogs at home by 1 to the Seattle Seahawks. How you can favor the 3-7 Seahawks in any event is on the road.
Let's see if you can
nonetheless.
fill in this. This is the battle of the
Team that stinks more.
stinks. These both.
Yeah,
So-
you actually are getting requests in the comments like saying like, "Hey Jimmy, Pittsburgh."
Pittsburgh stink. We
Stinks.
tried to say remember we tried to say it's over for Pittsburgh, but then there was a little couple weeks there where Big Ben kind of revived, but it's over for that.
No, it's over.
It's over.
Yeah. So anyway, tonight, just going into this game, I do have a 1-game lead on Gooch in the picks for this week.
No, we both won last night, didn't we?
Yeah, no, you picked the Browns. Sorry, sack of potatoes. So yeah, you picked the Browns. I picked the
I was
Ravens.
sitting there. Well, I bet you know
See,
what?
that's the thing. You keep hedging your image by doing that by picking them on Friday, and then you go back and say, "Oh, well, I bet the other way."
I
Like,
did.
Congratulations.
But I honestly thought that I picked Baltimore. I was like, I came in today like, oh, we both tied. That was my thought process.
that was we only picked
But-
3 different
But
games.
that's what happens when you're picking the Sunday night football game on Friday.
Yeah, but what happened? Then nothing happened.
No, a lot happens. I didn't on Friday. I'm not like breaking down. I'm not going in deep on Friday morning and saying like, well, who do I really think is going to win this game by looking at matchups and pass defense against rush defense and things like that. Whereas if I'm going to make a
I just hear a
bet,
lot of excuses, but whatever.
when I make a bet, I go in and do that. I'm not going to just place a bet unless I'm gambling. But
Well, listen,
when I have time in between,
if the Redskins win, they'll be creeping into the Cowboys world, but just no, not really.
I mean, look, if Washington wins this game, they'll be
It'll be
5 and
2
6. They'll
and
be
I
2
did
games
say
out.
I also do remember saying like I'm most confident in the under hitting in this game.
Yeah, well,
And
that
did.
definitely hit. But in this event, to finish out this week, Gooch, your premier elite what do we got?
Mets, Scherzer, mega deal
Done?
done.
Breaking?
3 years, 130 million.
Good for them.
$40 million a year, $43
That
million
That
a year.
reeks of desperation.
That's desperation. So breaking news here on the Chop Sports Podcast: Max Scherzer to the New York Baseball Mets. So that's big, bro.
Bro, he got 46 million a year.
Oh my God, $46 million a year to throw a baseball. What did
That's
we do wrong?
unbelievable.
Like,
Where
put
did
it this
we
way.
go wrong?
Put it this way: if he misses,
Fucking God.
if he misses
Okay,
8 starts, he's getting paid $2 million a start.
I'm now.
This year.
Let me interject this. As good as he is,
Can we pick
how
the game?
much? So real quick, well, you brought breaking news.
I know.
If this guy's worth $46 million a year, I think Aaron Judge should get what 60, 55
A year?
Yeah.
No.
Well, he's
Judge?
the face of the franchise. He's not sucked yet. He had a great season.
is-
No one
He's
was
also
watching.
No
he's also gets hurt every year.
way?
At some point,
there's no.
He's gonna
there's
get
always a
big.
strained oblique or
you-
something.
You're telling me that he's first of all, this is the richest contract ever.
Well,
per annually.
Until Judge has to get huge money.
I don't think it
Sorry.
happens, Jimmy.
Oh,
If you
you're
think
wrong.
that, first of all, Judge isn't going to get a 3-year deal. He's going to get like a 7-year deal. They're not going to give him 6.
No, the new way of the world with these newer,
a
younger
year,
kids are
over
the
7 years.
10-year
getting-
deals that you could
He's
spread.
getting more than he's definitely. So you think he's going to get like a $20 million?
I think he's going to. No, I don't think he's going to get 20. I don't think he's going to get. I don't think he's going to approach that though. No fucking way.
He's not.
He's not
I
a
bet it's
6-time
north-
Cy Young winner.
I
like
bet
fucking
it's.
Scherzer.
I will say this. I think it'll approach between 35 and 46 a year.
That's a
my
large
prediction.
window to
Well,
approach.
it depends.
An $11
It
million
depends
gap.
on- That's like an all-star player.
Well, it depends.
Annual contract.
No, it's Aaron Judge has to get a huge. This guy's done nothing wrong.
Yeah, but you're not. You're the thing that
And
you're
I'm
doing
not even
wrong.
that
Are
big
you
of a fan
basing
of
it?
him.
Are you
thing-
basing it on the
The
market?
thing that you're doing wrong
What
right
he did
here is
last
you're
year,
not
he
basing it off of.
guy
First
bets-
of all, free agency is about to change drastically
That's, well,
because of the lockout.
Oh, no,
A.
that's true. That's
B, you're looking at the pitchers market. as opposed to the right fielders market, that a guy that has also
I
been
think
missing time.
Judge's agent is smiling as he's looking at these breaks.
But that's a completely different
mean,
thing. Pitchers
still,
and
You're
field,
he's
I don't
gonna
know,
get
man.
crazy money.
I don't know. I love
Unless
Judge.
the lockout.
Listen, I'll tell you right now.
So,
I bought 2 jerseys in my life: Derek Jeter and Aaron Judge.
I
So
wouldn't be
I love
surprised-
Aaron
I
Judge.
wouldn't
Don't
be
get me wrong.
surprised- I wouldn't be surprised if they took the best outfielding contract out there right now and said, "What is it?" Well,
Yeah, here's a perfect analogy of the, or at least comparison. Mike Trout makes $37.1 million a year. He is not
And when
Judge is not as good as
when
Mike
did
Trout.
he sign that contract?
a couple years back.
Okay, well there you go. So that like the bargain basement player in the league in 2 years from now is going to be Giancarlo because he's only making $27 million a year.
Yeah,
Come on.
no, that
You're
might not
gonna
be a
see
bad
40
take,
million
actually.
for Judge. I don't
We'll see. But let's
Think
pick this
so?
game, Gooch. Let's wrap this up. We got the Washington football team home dogs by 1, basically a pick 'em. Who do you got? I mean, listen, remember, we'll never let it go. The Washington football team were supposed to win 12 games according to Gooch and AJ Bascone. So with them being 4-6, how do you feel this game's going? Seattle done?
I think Seattle's going to win.
It's at Seattle.
And like when you're
No, it's in
talking about how is Seattle giving a point to anybody, like the odds makers had it right as far as the opening line.
Yeah, that's what
this
right.
line
I think
moved
that
like
was
2 or 3 points. And that's really just the public going in on Seattle heavy because they don't believe in Taylor Heineke. Chase Young's out. That defense is kind of reeling a little bit, but Washington football team has played better, and Seahawks have been playing like shit. Maybe this is the week that Russ finds it, and I'm banking on that. So I'll just lay the points here.
Yeah.
And go against my typical fade the public.
Unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna separate anymore because I'm still on the Taylor Heineke is just all hype right now, and when he gets rolling, great. It's all fun and games, but it's Pete Carroll, it's Russ Wilson, it's DK, it's Lockett, it's the whole running game. Like it's just, I don't know. I find it hard pressed to take out Russell Wilson on a primetime game. I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks.
I'm rooting for Seattle, but I think Washington's going to win. I think the last couple of seasons, they're 4-6. They're still in the hunt for the playoffs. Big game for them at home Monday Night Football. I think the Redskins.
Do you know
win.
what's crazy as I'm looking at this right here, seeing Seattle's record and knowing the Jets own that pick, right?
Wow.
The Jets own that pick. The Jets have an actual chance that the Seattle pick is going to be higher than theirs. Right now,
Very
as
true.
things
If they
stand.
lose this game, they'll have the same record. How about that?
Right? Yeah.
How about that? We're gonna live
How
in a
about
world
this?
in November that the Seattle Seahawks and the New York Jets have the same record.
Well, how about
That's
this in
insane.
New York for draft day? We're in this Cowboy Packer world, but if you have a draft day celebration at a bar, it's possible that in the top 15 picks, the Jets and Giants could have 4 of those picks.
Maybe even
Right?
more. Yeah.
Bears,
more. The
Bears and Giants.
The Bears and
stink.
Giants. I mean, the Giants. They're in the hunt.
I'm just saying the
On
Giants.
a local
shit the
front,
bed.
yes. So you got the Bears. I mean, you got the Giants, the Jets, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to have a couple top
It's
picks.
gonna be crazy.
The Cowboys have the 32nd after they win the Super Bowl. It's going to be weird. It's going to be weird.
I get it.
Hey, I meant to bring that up because, I did say I wanted to talk about the NFC playoff picture. I am glad right now. I'm glad that the Dallas Cowboys are now out of the conversation of taking that number 1 seed because I think the pressure is off and I think they play a little better now. Honestly.
Glad says no one ever.
Okay.
And I'm glad that my team is out of the running for the
No.
one seed. That
I said
sounds
they're out of
like-
the conversation. People aren't talking about them anymore. This is a chance for them to
tell
go
you,
on a
it
run.
is interesting. If
Honestly.
I think the Cowboys are still a pretty good team, but man, if they lose on Thursday night, man,
Well, now I have a built-in excuse.
no,
that Mike
but it
McCarthy's
is-
the greatest coach of all time. That's what we're going to get done.
you once said that you think McCarthy stinks as a coach, but he would handle if they ended up 7-5 on Friday morning. He would be okay at handling that end of it, more so than game day strategy.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think the Cowboys, Jerry Jones, a slide like that's tough.
Well,
That's a big, very big. Obviously,
It's a massive
no,
game
yes.
on Thursday.
and plus,
Massive.
I think the Saints really stink, but it's at the Dome, right? And that's
Yeah, but the
crazy shit
Saints
happens
have they gave up 40 points to the Eagles at the Dome, and then they got
Crazy stuff
starched by the
happens, yeah.
Bills at the Dome. So it's like
But
the way-
crazy.
the Dome ain't
things
the Dome
what you got to
anymore.
do with these games, it's like you can't look at who the fuck they did what to and who did this to them.
Don't
you got to
turn
look
the
at
ball
like
over.
where these guys, who's playing on Dallas that would be able to expose matchups that the Saints are weak at. That's all you
Right.
got to do. I think the Saints match up decent against teams that pass the ball well, but if Dallas could run the ball on them,
There was a rumor
It's not gonna be
that
much
Zeke
they
would
could
be
do.
out for this one for rest. I don't think that's going to be a thing. I think Zeke
Bro.
actually goes.
there's
See,
no
I don't-
such thing as that
I don't
happening.
understand that.
It's weak. If you're injured, you're not playing. If you're healthy, you're playing.
I'm
You're
just telling
not
you where
resting these
where
players.
these
For
stories
rest.
they pop up. They pop. What do you want me to do? He's hurt his knee against Carolina a month ago. They've not had a chance to rest. You know what I mean? So
He's either
I
out-
don't want it to
Yeah,
happen. I'm
he's-
just saying.
It's like I think that what the word rest is where it gets me.
Yeah, me too. If I
Oh,
was,
it's
like
from
if-
you for being an NBA guy the way you are, the word rest is coveted over there.
What are you talking about? An NBA guy the way I am? I don't no. Look, load management in the NBA is completely different than having your 40. How much are they paying Zeke?
16 million.
16 million a
Can't
year.
rest him.
You can't rest him. In what week are we in? 13,
13.
12.
No way.
If he's healthy, that motherfucker is playing. If he's not healthy and he's tired, then take a fucking nap. I don't want to hear rest. in
He
football.
can't rest.
That's crazy.
who-
You're not talking to me as if I'm agreeing with this.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not
I know.
agreeing
I'm
with
just
this
saying.
at all.
But you know
Oh,
the
you're
problem
right.
is
I
the
know
other
that
guy
you're not.
runs
I'm
just
saying,
as
like,
well
it's-
anyway.
Shut up, Scoop, with the Pollard better. Stop. They're different running backs. Putts. Anyway,
I agree.
that'll be the entire slate. We just covered the week 12 of the NFL. We want to thank Jimmy Palumbo for coming in. Glad you had a successful show
Good
on
show.
one.
Thanks everybody in the. I know there was a bunch of Chop Sports people in the audience. Thank you very much for showing up. I really appreciate
That's
it.
awesome. And of course, for Sturch and Gooch, this has been another episode of the Chop Sports Daily. We'll be back tomorrow to break down all things on Monday night. We'll break down the Max Scherzer contract when that gets signed on the dotted line. And hopefully, the Yankees can get involved a little bit in the offseason because right now they're doing nada. Zilch.
Got Knicks Nets tomorrow night.
Knicks Nets tomorrow night. Something to preview. Got anything, Gooch?
Yeah, the Packers are now the best team in football, and Kirk Cousins lined up under guard on a crucial 4th and 2 and had to burn a
Did you see
timeout.
that, Jimmy?
So the
Kirk
the
Cousins lined up under the wrong, like, sit! And the
order,
center's like, I'm
order
over
is now
here.
restored in the NFL, but more importantly, it's restored in the NFC North after the embarrassing loss to the Vikings. So back on top,
Back on top. You're on.
back.
Dina,
behind
have a
guard.
great day as well. We will see you here in just a couple days as the Pick Fish and the Chop Sports Network, or the the Sauce Network comes on in here. Very excited about that. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Skidovic is gone.
Bye.